Today I'm heading to the forest with my sketchbooks to find some nature in the city. I'm currently in Berlin visiting my partner, and when I'm in more populated areas I quickly find myself needing time for solitude, and drawing outside for me is always the perfect escape. I wanted to dedicate this video to the simple joys of exploration and play, and I'm doing this through drawing in my sketchbook. My objective for this sketching session is to get outside in nature and sketch what I can see on a really close-up level. I'm looking for tiny little details, picking up leaves and exploring in the earth and looking at the marks on the trees, so gathering all of this kind of visual information into my sketchbook. My name is Orla Stevens and I'm a painter and an illustrator based in Scotland. It's my hope that these videos give you some inspiration and an insight into things that you could try yourself when you are outside sketching. As people, it's really hard to find the time and make the time, or even have the option of having that time for the simple joys of exploration and doing things just because they're fun, with no goal in mind. Experimenting just to see what will happen with no weight on the outcome. It's this lack of expectation that I always try to keep in my paintings. It's what staves away fears of mistakes. The work itself is the process, and if the process feels good, then everything else will follow. That is the purpose of my sketchbooks and time outside. For me, the exploration and the experiments and the mistakes in amongst that process of researching and adventuring, it really lights me up and it connects me back to nature, and it gives me space so that I can manage everything else in my life. I suppose you could say that it's my own form of meditation. So I've packed some gouache. This is great because it dries super fast. Just tiny little tubes. I've got some acrylic ink, a whole host of different paintbrushes, got a bulldog clip just to hold the paper down in the wind if it gets too breezy. I've got some soft pastels, this super duper jumbo acrylic marker, lots of fun with that, and these coloured pencils. The art of looking is also a really important time in these sketching sessions, maybe even more so than the actual drawing itself. I do think that the action of drawing helps you learn to see more things around you, but I also think that by learning to see more, that's the main contributor to making interesting work. It's a bit of a chicken before the egg situation. Both need to be practiced to strengthen the other. You need to be able to see things in different angles and different ways, and you also need to be able to learn to capture them. So you've got both the motor skills, the hand-eye coordination with your hands of the actual practical drawing, and then you've got the actual creativity in the seeing. This is why I spend so much of my fieldwork pushing myself to gather shapes and marks and textures in my sketchbook. I'm always trying to uncover something new from a different angle, something close up, playing with scale maybe, and so on and so forth, experimenting. And it's this gathering again and again and again that helps me push what I can see in my environment and uncover new details every time. I like the challenge of finding nature in cities and densely populated areas. It's always there, sometimes in unsuspecting places, finding a way to grow through cracks in the pavement, out of roofs, or like today in very obvious spots like parks and green spaces. Berlin, where I am right now, is, I think, a really green place, with hundreds of parks and easy links to surrounding lakes. It was really easy for me to swap bustling streets for this beautiful forest, and as soon as I started walking around, I felt calmer, as I always do. Drawing outside for me is like a tonic. It not only helps inspire my practice and my work and my livelihood, but it helps keep me feeling like a balanced human being, managing my stress and my emotions and my overall well-being. Time outside not only helps with these things, but offers time to reflect on past and current projects. Walking and sketching are often my most creative times, where ideas flow in for other work, probably because I'm not focused on the problem solving. During this session, I realised I kept on just drawing leaves and sticks, so I decided to push myself to draw something even smaller. So I pushed the leaves aside and I uncovered this patch of earth, and I started looking for even smaller, teeny tiny little marks and textures to see, and to draw these at larger scales. If you'd like to see how all this research turns into final works of art, you can check out my portfolio over on my website at www.orlastevens.com, or follow along for more process-led things on my Instagram at orlastevens. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope this has given you some inspiration, and I hope to see you outside.